Got you thinking about
Good morning, all of my little dirty paintbrushes. Dirty paintbrush here in the craft dungeon. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, so bear with me. It may not be for you. It's okay if you don't want to watch it. I have been requested to, I have offered to help out some friends of mine who have been looking for a little bit of help, some tips on streaming, or not streaming, recording videos. And I just want to add that I am no expert at this. Basically pretty much everything that I have done, I've had to teach myself. So I hope everyone's doing well, by the way. Good morning. I sometimes forget to ask how everybody is doing. And it's not that you can answer me right away, but hey, you can still feel, I want to make you feel like that I care, because I do. So I'm sorry that I've not been in the habit of doing that. How are y'all? I'm in Kansas. I'm not Southern, but for some reason I still say y'all. People around here look at me like I'm crazy sometimes. I used to have a sister that lived in Oklahoma, and so she was very much had a Southern accent as far as the y'all and things like that went. Not near as Southern as true Southern, but I think Oklahoma might have their own version. But anyway, off topic, which anybody who watches me knows that happens to me a lot. So I always have some sort of a disclaimer. Maybe I should stop calling it a disclaimer. Basically, I'm just going to be real here for a moment and say, when I started out, there was only one person that was willing to answer any questions, willing to help me, decide on equipment to record with, to give me tips as far as that goes, answer any questions I had about OBS, which is the recording software that I use, which I've used before. I used to actually, I dabbled a little bit into streaming when I would play computer games a couple years ago, because that's one of the other things that I kind of like to do when I have time. I love PC games. I don't know why. I grew up as a Nintendo girl, and I've always loved, I don't really like, like shooter games like Call of Duty and this whole Fortnite stuff that my kid plays. Not really into any of that, but I like games that are like role-playing games, like Elder Scrolls and Elder Scrolls Online, and there's a bunch of other ones out there that I enjoy playing, but I just don't get a lot of time to mess with them anymore unless I'm just not in a crafty mood and I have some time to sit down and play. But anywho, again, off topic. So the point, oh my god, this is terrible. I can't stay on topic. See, I tried to tell you I'm not a professional, so take it or leave it, and take the information I give you as amateur, because that's what it is. So the point, there's a couple of reasons why I'm doing this. I offered to help a friend of mine, and then a friend of hers, which has also become a friend of mine, because they both had some questions, and they love doing videos, and they love doing them for the same reason that I love doing them. They're not here to get thousands of subscribers and necessarily make money off of it, that kind of thing, which is like me, because I know that I don't have the time to invest in it, and while a little extra money wouldn't be nice, because of course it would be nice, I know that with my schedule and my responsibilities that there's no way I could commit to doing the things that you need to be able to do to have that kind of following. And in fact, I don't even have time to make stuff to sell And that's actually something that right now in my life I'm totally against for me. And that is because once I make something like that, like a job, once I make crafting a job, like, oh, I have to get journals done to put up on Etsy, then it will no longer be fun for me anymore. And that is just my personality. And there's so much awesome stuff out there anyway that, anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at on that. Doesn't mean that's not going to change. As you know, I'm pretty squirrely and can go all over the place. So in 5 years, that could change when the kids are out of school and hopefully my son at least is off to college and I have more time, that could change. But so yeah, part of the reason why I wanted to do this, like I said, was because I have a couple of friends that are in need, and my first message to when I had basically had responded to a Facebook post and said I'm happy to help, and so I got a couple messages. And my first message to them was like, I literally found no help when I looked for, there's all kinds of videos out there on how, what kind of equipment to get or how to set up or this or that, but none of it is targeted to crafters. And I think it's important because what we do is different. We don't do cooking tutorials, and we don't do action videos, and we don't do, some of us do vlogs, but that's not the main topic of our videos. And so I had asked, I would see people's videos and I would say, hey, how do you do that intro? Or it's really cool, and no response, crickets. Like they're trying to hide this big secret of how they make their photos flip or scroll at the beginning of the video. And I think personally, I think that's BS. I think that's the women trying to be overly secretive and competitive because, oh my God, if I make my photos flip like yours at the beginning of my video, I might steal one of your 10 million subscribers. No, that's not the point. The point is, I thought it looked cool, and so I'm basically saying, hey, this looks really cool. It's not like it's a copyrighted thing. You can do it with multiple pieces of software, and I'm giving you a kudos or a compliment by saying how much I like it. So if that were me receiving that compliment, I would be happy to help somebody do it. If it makes their video making experience more fun and allows them to do something that they think looks cool, then why not? I'm not hiding it from anybody. That's just ridiculous. So I kind of got tired of that real quick. People that I had followed for a long time, that I was a dedicated viewer, and I was like, yeah, now I'm going to start making videos, and this looks so cool. So, how do you do it? And it was always crickets. Nope, not gonna. I'll talk to you about anything else, but I'm not gonna tell you how I put photos at the beginning of my video. Okay. So thanks for being, a supportive, whatever. So anyway, I'm over that rant. And I've mentioned before that I had Spanky really help me a lot in the beginning, and she's not like that. She doesn't care if I want to go out on this endeavor and start my own thing. I'm not going to hurt her because her style and her way of doing things is completely different than mine. People watch Spanky because they like Spanky. So anybody that watches me because they like me. So anyway, Spanky was a huge help to me. And then as far as the editing and things like that, and I'm pretty technically savvy. I can figure things out. I can watch a few videos, Google a few things, and, kind of figure things out. So, I've actually edited with 2 different pieces of software, and we'll go over that later. I think the first thing I wanted to start with, and I think I threw away my, one of the first things I wanted to start with for people that are using their phone. Phones these days record really good. I have nothing against phones. I used my phone the first several videos that I did, and I came up with this solo cup hack for making a tripod. It looks lame, I understand, And it's funny because in one of my videos, one of my first 2 videos, I completely made fun of myself for having my phone set up like this. But if I can take enough time to edit this way, to edit this video, I'll pull a snippet of one of those videos and kind of show you how it looked when I did it. Or I could just take some video with my phone set in it now and scrub that into my video. Insert, whatever. It's probably not scrub. I'm not even using the right terminology. So, basically what you do is you just cut 2 notches out that are wide enough to hold your phone, and probably a little wider, because you kind of want it maybe to, you know, you don't want it to you could want it to sit straight up, but it kind of depends on how far away you're able to set it from your workspace and what kind of a view you need. But you literally can just do this. If you do not have the budget for equipment, if you are using your phone, all I did is I found something that I can put inside of it to weigh it down. That would be too tall. Actually, it works just fine. Sorry. I had like a little votive candle holder that I set at the bottom of it to weigh it down, because, you know, these phones get pretty heavy. This is a Samsung Note 8. And I have a pop socket on the back of mine too. So, you know, and a case. So mine gets pretty thick. So I can't, I could, let me see what kind of a, so I get a decent table shot. You know, if I were going to move it way back over here, I would get most of my table. And this is what's called, when you have your camera like this is landscape mode, okay? This is how you're going to get the widescreen, you know, the full screen video. And I'm explaining this in very simple terms because I understand that there are a lot of people out there that don't have the time or the desire to even mess with learning all of this stuff, or whatever the case may be. This is portrait mode, okay? So you're going to get, it's like you're not going to get a wide viewing angle out of this. So if you can see in the camera, you can see my paints and stuff in the background. But you can get a wider view here because you can see more on either side of the paints. If you can kind of see, I'm kind of trying to do this so that you can see the difference. And on YouTube, you know, this is how most videos are going to show up. So I know sometimes people, if they don't have any kind of tripod or anything, they, you know, you can set your phone in a drawer or something like that, but it may not work if you try to do it sideways like this, landscape. So they do it portrait, and so what you're getting is a tall video with big black bars on each side on YouTube. You know, you can watch them on your phone and fill up the whole screen, you know, and still see what they're doing, not a big deal. But I wanted to make sure and go over that because I know that was a question that came up. So that's the difference between landscape and portrait. I feel that if you do not have any equipment and you don't have the budget to buy any right now, which I will go over equipment just a little bit later, that I think this works just fine to start out with. If you want to make videos and you want to put them in the wider screen format, and we got out of it, I would say try this first if you have solo cups. I use solo cups for my paint water, and we had a bunch left over from a New Year's party 2 years ago, so I've got tons of solo cups. This is super easy. It allows you to set your phone wherever you need to set it in its own little vessel. And like I said, just put a little bit of weight in the bottom of it, and it should work just fine. So now that we are through that, we know the difference between portrait. I was probably going to say Portlandia. Portrait and landscape. So now that we know that, we can get into settings. Now, my settings are on a Samsung phone. And this is a Samsung Note 8. So I do know that I don't know about the 9s and the new 10s. I know that with the 8s and previous, it would only record 10 minutes of video if you did the Ultra HD. See, and it looks like they've changed this because No, they didn't. So I don't know if you can see this or not. This is going to be one of those. I'm still no expert on lighting, okay? But my video option is set at full HD 1920 by 1080. So what that means is that your video is going to be 1920 pixels wide by 1080 pixels high. It basically will fill up the YouTube screen. You will have no black bars, and that's also in a 16:9 aspect ratio. I'm not going to define what all of those things mean. What I can tell you is that means you will get a full clear YouTube picture with no black bars. You do not need to go any higher than that. You do not need to do full HD 60 frames per second. You do not need 60 frames per second. You would need 60 frames per second if you were doing a lot of more high action, fast motion type stuff. But for this purpose, we don't need it. QHD, we don't need that either. And Ultra HD, UHD, we don't need that resolution either. Full HD is just fine. And in fact, you can even do HD at 1280 by 720. I believe you will get small sidebars if you do that on YouTube. And I'm talking sidebars like if you're watching it on a computer. I don't know the percentage of people that watch YouTube on computers versus phones, blah, blah, blah. You might as well just do full HD, in my opinion, because your phone will record at storage capacity of that. In other words, there's no time limit. If you do anything above this, your phone stops recording after 10 minutes. So unless you want to set a 10-minute timer or a 9-minute and 55-second timer and then clip your videos at 9 minutes and 55 seconds each time, which would be a huge pain, and I've known people that have had to do that before, and it's not fun for them, I'm sure. So I would just do full HD, and all of your phones should have these settings within their video camera. This is camera settings. So your video camera settings should be, if you have an Android phone, embedded somewhere in your camera settings. I am not speaking to iPhones. Unfortunately, I have no experience. Well, fortunately for me, unfortunately for some of you, I don't have any desire to mess with Apple products. I think they're overpriced, and I think that they are, anyway, I think you're paying for the name, like when you go buy a shirt with a Nike logo on it, when you can buy just as nice of a shirt that doesn't say Nike on it for 20 bucks less. But anyway, that's my own opinion. I'm an Android girl through and through, and I'm a PC girl through and through, so anyway, love it or hate it. So you're going to obviously use the rear video if you have the option of using front or rear. Front is what you would use to do like a selfie video or something. Rear video is going to be your, have more options for a better resolution. So anyway, I mean, I'm just starting with that. There's probably other settings that, you could mess with if you felt like it. But I would just say if you can set it to 16:9 and then full HD at 1920 by 1080, you should be able to record as long as you want. And that being said, as much phone memory as you have. My video goes to an SD card, and I don't use this anymore very often anyway. I've used it a couple times. But the point is, if you have an SD card, you have like even a 32 gig card, you should easily be able to record, an hour worth of video, let's say, with no problem. Probably multiple, well, obviously multiple. An hour usually ends up being, I don't know, 2 gigabytes maybe. I can't give you the specific information on that because I really just don't pay attention. So, so that being said, if you need help with phone settings, you don't have a Samsung and you can't find your phone settings, please feel free to message me and I will try to help you with that. I can always kind of look it up and help walk you through it. Like I said, that kind of stuff is pretty easy for me. I've always been good with computers and phones and things like that. Sometimes I have to do a little research, but I would be happy to help you with that. if you have an Apple phone and you really need help, I can try to help you, but I'm just letting you know I would have to pretty much go look up everything. My son has an Apple phone. We reluctantly allowed him to put it on our account. And it's because he got his dad's old phone when his dad upgraded, so we went ahead and put that phone on our account, even though we didn't want to. But sometimes he can answer my questions. But I could go do research if you needed it and help you find your camera settings there. So then the question is, if you record on your phone and you have video, you're done recording, what do you do with the video, right? So you can upload it directly to YouTube. You can upload it raw and dirty, like I do some of mine, where you're not doing any editing, right? You just want to put something up there. You've worked on a journal, you have done some glue book pages, you've, worked on an art piece, made some tags, whatever you're doing, and talked away. And many of us crafters love to hear people talking while they work. So in that case, you can actually upload it directly to YouTube using your phone's YouTube app. No editing required, no need to transfer the video to another device to do any editing. That's the simplest way to do it, is record then upload. That's the quickest way that you're going to do it, because you're going to record what you're doing and then you're going to hit upload, and then you can walk away literally from your phone and continue doing some crafting or go do errands or whatever it is you're going to do, right? So that's the quickest way to do it. The other option, if you want to edit, I know there are programs on phones that will do fairly simplistic editing. I don't have experience with any of those, so that would be something that I would have to look into. That would be an option for you if you did not have a computer that was powerful enough to run video editing software. Video editing can be pretty system intense. It takes a lot of processor capacity, and it takes a good GPU, which is a video card usually, because a lot of times you're going to use that processor in your graphics card to help your system processor out and your software. My computer was purchased last year, and it does really well doing the video editing with Filmora. It did hang up, bug out, lock up quite a bit using Adobe Premiere Pro. I don't think that had anything to do with my system hardware. I think that had to do with Adobe. I think it was an Adobe issue. I don't know for sure. Well, let me get a drink of coffee. So, if you don't have the availability of a computer that will run the software, and we'll go over that in the video when I actually start doing some simple editing. I know Filmora has a mobile version. I've used it to make little 30-second video clips. I know that you can do more in there. You can put multiple video clips together. I believe there are some simple transitions. There are some filters and overlays, and there are some options for music. If that is all you want to do, and I believe you could add photos to a video in Filmora Go as well. If that's all you want to do, that could work for you. And I think you can add text. So, I mean, pretty much anything that many of you may want to do, you could probably do with Filmora Go. I have not messed with Filmora Go for crafting videos at all. I made a silly little video of my dad and my husband tearing down the old swing set in our backyard last week in preparation for dumpster day, which was yesterday. And at the point where, like, the top of the little clubhouse part of the swing set was about ready to fall over, I thought it was funny that they were standing there, like, kept trying to get it to come over, so I just made a cute little video with a little vintagey looking overlay and some funny little, it sounded kind of like 20s slapstick melodrama music or something, and it was funny. But I have not tried to use it for making craft videos. However, That is something else that probably, if I messed with it for just a few minutes, I could probably figure it out. It's pretty easy to use. I don't know. There's probably a full version of this. I'm assuming. I don't think this put a watermark on it. So I'm thinking that maybe this version is completely free. There are some things you can download, some overlays or music or themes that you can download that cost money. But I think it doesn't look like there's an option to buy the software, is there? Filters, elements, titles. What do we got here? Other, opener, others. Remove, okay, remove logo. So here you go. It looks like that there would be a logo probably on the bottom of your video. So on the mobile version, it's $2 to remove it. That's how you remove your watermark. So if you want to mess around with it and you have a newer phone, feel free to download it. It's free to download. It's called Filmora Go. And feel free to download it and play with it and see. There's all kinds of things you can do. It doesn't hurt a thing to play with it at all, mess things up, whatever. You know, you're going to open up a video in it and basically save it as a new file. So you should be preserving your original video. And especially if it's one you've already uploaded to YouTube, the safest thing to do is take one of those videos and play with those because it's already uploaded to YouTube. And then if you mess anything up with the video, and it gets corrupted or something, no big deal, right? Because you've already got it posted. So I didn't go into a lot of detail about Filmora Go because I don't use it, but I'm guessing that it could probably work, okay? The other option, if you have a computer that can do it and you want to learn how to have a lot more features and options, would be to plug your phone into your computer with the, you know, the charging cable should have a USB end on it. Plug it into the computer, and you basically transfer files from your phone to your computer. If you need help doing that, Google it, message me. Basically, though, you should get a pop-up that says, you know, do you want to connect to this phone? And then, you know, it should open up in your Windows Explorer with a folder system. You should be able to find where your videos are. They're usually stored in a folder called DCIM or camera. And then you should be able to just move your files over to the computer. And I just have a folder on mine called YouTube videos. And then within that file, I have a subfolder called new recordings. So every time I record anything, they all go in that folder. And that's my queue of videos that's waiting to be edited or uploaded. And then when I work with those videos, I put them in folders within that YouTube directory. The folders have the titles of what the videos are. That way I know this was my week 12 tag, or this was my Dirty Journals episode 1, or this was... So that's how I organize that. You can organize it whatever works best for you. So we kind of went over those two options for editing, and I will get into editing in another video. So let's say you have some money that you want to spend, and let's say you want to get a few things to make your life easier or to make your videos better. If you have issues with lighting, I would suggest maybe picking up some lighting. I have a review on my channel of a couple of pieces of lighting that are both desk lamp style lighting. They're LED lights that are very similar to an OTT light, OTT. An OTT is a very well-known, respectable brand. They are also very expensive. I'm sure that there's probably a longevity benefit there, or a quality benefit. I don't know. I found a couple of lights that I really like on Amazon that were not that expensive. I think my long square lamp was, my Tektronix lamp was $34.99, and it's got 4 light temperature adjustments on it, and then like 8 or 9 brightness adjustments. That's what I use up above. That's the one that I've been turning down to about half adjustment, because if I turn it up, it seems to get really bright. and then things feel like they're more washed out. I don't know. It might be hard to tell in this one, but if I turn it down a little bit, it seems like maybe I get a little better color. But you can also change the temperature of the color. I think you can kind of see that in the background, how the color is changing. It's getting warmer, and then that's back to pure white. Anyway, I'm not going to go into detail on lighting because, you know, it just really depends. I needed light in this room anyway. It was very dark in this room. I'm in the basement. That's why I call it the dungeon. I do have a window, but since our basement is like a lookout basement, so I've got a full-size window. It's not a basement window, but I'm behind like a flower bed with some bushes, and I'm on the south side of the house, and so I don't get a ton of light. My blinds are open, and I'm not really getting any direct light that I feel like is helpful. I'll open them all the way, and I really doubt that it made any difference. But I do get some natural daylight. If I were to turn this lamp off, that probably actually looks okay. And then I've got another lamp behind me with an LED bulb in it. Yeah, it gets quite a bit darker in here. My overhead light that's in the room literally does nothing for me. So I'd really like to kind of replace that with some better lighting at some point. But I've got a floor lamp behind me with an LED bulb in it that I guess when it's like super sunny outside, that's probably plenty of light. I don't even need my overhead light. But like I said, I've got a tutorial, or not a tutorial, just a quick review on the lighting that I purchased from Amazon. It's on my channel if you want to go check that out, so I won't do that here. The first thing I bought, before I bought my, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to go ahead and record what I'm talking about on my phone, and then I'm just going to merge the video together. This screws on to the screw there. It's got a screw on the back, and then it's adjustable so that you can open it up and secure your phone in there. And so I would literally have my phone looking down over this table, and I was recording over here for a while. And I did that for several videos, quite a few videos. It works okay. The problem I had was it was so high up there that like I couldn't see the phone screen because the phone screen was pointing toward the ceiling, so I couldn't see where the record button was, so I had to kind of guess. And also, unless your phone has the ability to mirror screen to your computer or tablet, and you have those right there with you, you won't actually be able to see your screen. So you won't have any idea when you're working if you're in frame or not, which at this point you may not care about that. For some reason, my camera just went off. Come on now. Oh, you know what? That was so dumb. Look, I don't even know how to use my camera. And then you kind of play, if you have like a shelf or some kind of drawer unit or something above where you work, you could use that as a tripod. And like I said, I explained the downsides to that earlier. I was able to, my phone has a Samsung Smart Tools or something like that. That allowed me to mirror my screen to my computer screen, like I said. And my computer's right here in the corner of my craft space. So I have my computer set up here, one table there, that's my standing table, and then my sitting table here. So I was able to see what I was recording on my screen, which was helpful because I am often out of frame. And again, you may not care about that yet. That's fine. It's everything, everybody starts somewhere and they're comfortable with certain things. So that's an option. So then after I really got started talking to Spanky, she shared with me the tripod that she used, which is what they would call like a boom arm. And I had already kind of decided at that point that I wanted to go ahead and buy a webcam, so I picked the Logitech C920. Basically, because it got the best reviews. There are some higher model level cameras that come after the 920. I think there's like a 920 with a letter on the back. I'm pretty sure I just have the 920. It could be a 920C. I'd have to look. There's like a 922, which I guess I've read a lot of negative things about. It may work for some people. I don't know. I think there were some Windows 10 issues with one of those. I mean, the point is you basically just need to be able to do the 1080p, which is 1920 by 1080. So for most webcams, that should be easy. And if you're going to do 720p, that should be easy as well. And really you only need about 30 frames per second, which for some reason most software will encode at 29.97 frames per second, which is no big deal. But I've read that that's what you want to use. I don't know. So my camera probably records at 30 frames per second. It might record at 29.97. To me, I'm like, okay, it's like 3/100ths of a second difference. I don't get it, but whatever. See, I'm a novice, I tell you. I'm not a video editing pro. I just know that I always set my editing to 29.97. So, anywho, this is the tripod that I use. My camera is actually recording right now. See? Yeah, so I've got it set up on this boom tripod. Basically, it moves at this joint here. You can move this joint here. This joint here, down here moves. So it basically allows you to attach it somewhere. It is a clamp attachment. So I kind of finagled. I've got this kind of ledge back here, but the edge wasn't wide and deep enough for me to mount this here. So I had all of this fence board that my father-in-law had given me, that he used when they made some shadow boxes and things like that. That what I did is I just stuck it up here to stick out just enough over this ledge that the bottom of this clamp fit, the whole piece fit on there. I've got command strips holding this down on here so that the wood doesn't, I mean, the majority of the wood is back here, but when you put the weight on the front, I worried that obviously it wouldn't, unless you weighted this down in the back, it was not going to stay. So I've got command strips holding this down, and then a lot of times I'll stack stuff that's heavier like across the back there just to kind of balance out the weight. I've never had an issue with the wood moving. I do have to hold the wood. I do have to put a hand on the wood if I ever want to go and adjust any of my joints at all. But literally, once you get it set up, you really don't have to adjust it. You just get it set up over your workspace and then kind of get it where you want it and get it mounted on there and then just leave it. Your video recording software will be able to operate your camera's zoom functions, your tilt functions where you can tilt it back and forth this way, your pan functions which go back and forth this way. Anyway, so basically once you get your tripod where you want it, your boom arm, you would just leave it. So I think this was 30 bucks. It was relatively cheap. You could, I don't know, if you wanted to use something like this with a phone adapter. I did read some people say if they had bigger, heavier phones that they had some problems with sturdiness. I really don't see it, how that could be. It's a thin, like aluminum construction with bolts in it, and it's got these springs, so that's what's making all the noise back there. I mean, I've never tried putting my phone on this. It's got the same attachment screw like any other tripod does, so the little phone cradle would go on it. I've never put my phone up there because I ordered the boom arm when I ordered the camera. But if you don't want to get a webcam, if you don't have a computer that's going to support recording the video into the computer and then editing it, then there's really no reason to buy a webcam. That's going to be my, I'm pretty sure, I'd have to think that through. But yeah, if you're not going to be editing on your computer, there's no reason to record to your computer, really. You would just want to record to your phone. Therefore, there's really no need for a webcam at that point. So I could go ahead and try to take some time to do a test and mount my phone up there and see if I feel like it holds it well enough. Just in case you wanted to go this route. Like I said, I read some reviews that maybe made it sound like that wasn't, it wasn't going to work very well, that it was heavy, too heavy. But why not just flip through some journal while I'm yakking? So yeah, those are your options. So the only equipment I have is the lighting, which I would have bought anyway, whether I was doing videos or not, because the lighting in my room is terrible. You only need that, or you, so, I mean, that's optional, right? If you're going to do videos though, and you have issues with low lighting, I would suggest getting at least one, maybe one of the lights, or replacing your overhead bulbs or your floor lamp bulbs with a bright LED. You want to get something that's pretty bright. So you'd want to look for a higher lumens, and you'd want to look for one that has like a, they call it a pure white light. I think that's around 4,000 kelvins. You would want to look for something that's got around that number in kelvins, I believe, and a higher wattage light, because you want brightness. So that would work too if you don't have the room on your craft table for a lamp, or you just don't want to invest the money in a lamp. Look for some good bulbs to replace your current lamp bulbs or your current overhead light bulbs. And then if you're going to, you know, the tripod I bought because I wanted to record over here and wanted to, I didn't have a place to put my little octopussy, I call it an octopussy tripod. I didn't have a place to mount that over here. And this is has always kind of been my wet table that I get super messy on, because it was always a little more protected, and this is where my paint shelf is. And the other table over there was more just when I was doing planner stuff, I would, you know, that was more, if I did more dry stuff, it would be over there. I usually get my paper cutter out over there and do paper cutting. I usually pull die cuts off my Cricut mat over there. So that's, and then I set crap over there any other time. So yeah, the tripod would be helpful. If the other little octopussy one won't work for you. I think the little one that's mounted over my other table was about 20 bucks. So, and it came with the phone caddy, the phone attachment. So look, again, all of this stuff was on Amazon. I will try to find the links to it. The lighting, I will leave that, the links to that is in the lighting video, so I will leave that there. But if I can find the links to the tripod and the webcam for those interested, and then the other tripod, or at least something very similar to the other tripod. My husband bought it for me at Christmas time, because December of last year is about when I started doing videos. So that was one of my, you know, it was supposed to be a Christmas gift, but I think he gave it to me before Christmas, to be honest. It was one of those little octopussy tripods, so I don't remember what it was. Yeah. So I think that goes over equipment. So we went over phone settings, and my phone settings are, like I said, my phone's a Samsung Galaxy Note 8. So if you have something different, it may not look quite the same. But if you go into your camera app, there should be a little settings wheel somewhere, and you should be able to find those settings. So we went over the different resolutions. I don't know if every brand of phone is the same as mine, where it kind of had like a 10-minute limit on, you know, Ultra HD or anything above just HD. full HD. You don't need anything above that for crafting videos. Your camera stays stable. There's not movement on your camera itself, so you don't need and you're not doing super fine detailed stuff. So you're basically taking a video of a table that's beneath your camera. So the 1920 by 1080 resolution at a 16 by 9 aspect ratio is all that you need. 1920 by 1080, or you can do 1080 by 720. You would have, I believe, some narrow black bars on each side. You can test those out. You can always upload a video privately so that you can see what it looks like once you get it uploaded, and then you can remove it. I had to do that a few times. So that is always an option for you with YouTube. If you're not sure how it's going to look when you upload it, you always have the option of uploading it privately instead of publicly. That way you can go look at it, you see what you want to change, then you can delete it and, you know, start over again. So that's always a tool that can be helpful when you're starting out and you're messing with settings. Yeah. So other than that, I think for the hardware side of things, I've covered everything. If I missed something that you have burning questions about, please feel free to let me know. I may very well have missed something. I'm going to do video editing on a separate video. Like I said, I have used 2 different softwares for video editing. I'm probably going to to show you how to edit in Filmora. It's Filmora 9. Because I feel like, especially for people that are not video editing professionals, I think Adobe Premiere Pro is really hard to learn for the things that we want to use it for. It's definitely feature packed and you can do all kinds of things with it, but I guarantee that you would use like maybe, you know, 20% of those features, if that. That software is meant for professional video editors that, you know, that want to use all of those features that we don't really need. So after I struggled with that for a while and swamped my way through it, I was like, I decided to go back and try Filmora again, because you can download it for free and you can make all the videos with it you want and test things in it, but it'll just have a watermark on the bottom until you pay for it. So if you're not sure if your computer will handle Filmora, I would definitely try putting some videos on your computer and messing with Filmora in its free mode, because you're not going to upload those. You're just playing with it, which is what I did before I bought it. I just played with it to see, okay, how easy is it to do this? Like, I want to do this. How long does it take me to find that setting or, you know, do that, versus what I was struggling with in Premiere. And I finally just came to the conclusion that it was worth my time and energy to have Filmora. Even though we already pay for Adobe Creative Cloud, my husband uses it for some other things, and I do use Photoshop sometimes, but I'm not great at that either. Ooh, that paintbrush is terrible. It's it needs some love. It's got like boogies stuck in it. Thus the name, the dirty paintbrush. I'm so lazy. So I will go over that in another video. So hopefully this has answered your hardware questions and your basic setup questions. If, like I said, if you have any more, please leave a comment down below. Let me know. You can email me. You can message me on Facebook, because most of you that probably want to watch this know who I am anyway on Facebook and are in one or more groups with me. So anyway, for now, I shall let you go because I have to do adulting today. And adulting means go to the store, and then I have to go to the hardware store, and then I have to finish building stone steps on my patio, and etc. And probably feed my children at some point. I haven't decided yet if that's a priority today or not. I'm joking, obviously. But anyway, I must get going because my husband's probably upstairs wondering what the heck I'm doing. So there will be more to come, and I hope that this helped anybody that needs some help and clarified some things. Like I said, I've never have found any good videos out there that were that spoke directly to people doing videos like we do videos. So you can watch a lot of stuff out there about equipment and setup, but a lot of it's not geared towards us, and some of it's pretty technical as well, and so it may be hard to understand anyway. So I was trying to kind of get down to layman's terms because I understand there's a lot of people out there that just don't. There's people out there that want to make videos and they're scared to do it because they think it's going to be too hard. I see them in live streams all the time, and they're like, oh, it looks like it would be fun, but I'm scared, or I don't think I could do it. Yes, you can. And you do it because you want to do it, and you want to get on camera, and you want to yak, and you want to meet new people. I've made some really good connections with people that I consider friends by doing this, and that's all I want. I want to have a tribe. I don't need a tribe of 10 million people. I just want a tribe of people that have like similar interests and similar personalities and, you know, similar whatever. You know, people you connect with, people you jive with, and I've already made some of those connections. So I say that making videos once in a while in a very non-organized, non-scheduled way has been just fine for me because it gives me an outlet to sit here and yak and feel like I'm crafting with somebody, and it saves my husband from having to listen to me talk about paint and paper types and watercolor versus gouache, because he really, as supportive as he is, bless his heart, he really just doesn't care about gouache versus watercolor. So anyway, with all of that being said, everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and I love y'all, and please like this video if you found anything useful in it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, because there's a lot of goofy fun in here. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.